Good evening, afternoon, whatever. My name is Angel in the afternoon, of course. Today is Good Friday, so happy Good Friday, I guess, whoever, is into that thing. This is Angel in the afternoon. I'm your host, Angel Rivera. We're once again alongside Alex Knight, and boy, do we have some things to talk about tonight. And hope everybody's had a great week. And, you know, tomorrow is Sunday's Easter, and see what happens. I mean, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. First off, how you doing?
Good. How
Good.
about you?
Hanging in there. I'm okay.
Might want to
Sit.
fix your camera though. It's
Why?
really blurry.
It is. I don't
I
see
can
it
see you,
blurry.
but it's like very low. Well, I don't know about blurry, but it's very low quality right now.
Oh, it'll fix itself. I hope, because I don't know how to fix that.
No.
Let's see. Whoops. I mean, do that. Bear with me 1 second. I just messed this up. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I just flipped it. I don't know. Hopefully it gets better, but right now, not much you can do about it right now. So, hope everyone had a great week. Let's look at this. Whoops, hold on. Bear with me. Why is it? Yeah, I thought let's start off with something pretty funny here. Of course, this is only in Florida this could happen, and so this is like, let's. Oh, in Florida, huh?
Yeah.
Let me in! Some human meat in there. Let me in. I smell ya.
Well, we already know that's going to happen in GTA 6. We saw in the trailer where the alligator walked into a store.
Like, he literally tried to walk into the. No, this thing just. Listen. You got it!
By the way, not showing us on the screen right now. I'm not sure if you know.
Oh, well, that's fixable.
Okay, there we go.
It's not that.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Go, bro.
Just takes them all the way to the end. There you go. That works. There's some gator crossing. No, it only happens in Florida. Look at that. He's just taking his time. Like, yeah, how you doing? So yeah, I thought that's pretty funny. It's something. So we also get it's another week and another liberal meltdown here. So see if I saved it. I know I did. At least here it is. Yeah. Last week we had that dude, yelling at the other guy walking down the street for no reason, and now we get a crazy white woman yelling at some Trump supporter at a Mexican restaurant.
Wow.
So she's insane,
And you have a baby here with you. You're a disgusting, sick, vile weirdo. Oh my God, it's right. You dumb. You're with this. He doesn't want me or you to have equality. Oh my God, go pray for me. Touch me and watch me touch the I want it. Sit down. Get out. You're not welcome here. You don't want these people here. You're not welcome.
Let's
You
go.
want me to make you
Who the hell are you?
have to go to this one? Who the hell are you?
I'm proud of this man.
guys call the cops?
Good.
Thank you, sir.
And here comes the cop.
You know what?
Just jumping.
The fire service, so I keep
Genius, by the way.
Why did you never check the permission over in that house? That doesn't make any damn sense.
Oh, like,
Sanders called the police.
you might want to let her know that she knows that before Trump. Apparently, she doesn't know that.
No, she's trying to be the good white, defending the Mexican restaurant from these alleged racist MAGA supporters.
All right, now this is crazy right here. This is some
So police kicked her out, of course, and she's a moron. So, oh my god. So let's see here. I found this to be interesting here. Let's see. Thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Now, I found this to be very interesting because earlier this week it was the Coachella Music Festival, which millions of people go to every year. But what was interesting to me is about 60% of Coachella attendees financed their tickets to attend the festival, according to Billboard. If you need to take out a loan to go to Coachella, you shouldn't be going to Coachella. There's been about 100,000 attendees each weekend for the festival, and over half of them are financing their tickets. In other words, they're taking out loans to pay these tickets. Ticket prices around $600 for most festival goers. Spending is over $1,000 for housing and food as well. The payment plans start as low as $50 a month. $50 a month for what? To go to some festival. Apparently Bernie Sanders spoke at this too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, no wonder Bernie Sanders spoke at it. Seems like his kind of crowd. Yeah, I mean, so there's some music here, but I do want to get to...
Speaking of Bernie, we should also talk about how he kicked out the protesters for Palestine out of the event.
So this is the housing that they get
in the safari tents at Coachella. We arrived to our setup tent, beds, towels, and best of all is that the whole tent is air conditioned and it comes with a fridge and a ton of different outlets. They also have bathrooms stocked with all of the essentials that you need and showers. We got our wristbands and unboxed our Coachella box. We spent some time vision boarding the weekend and planning out our schedule. And then we went to an Aperol Spritz welcome party during sunset and they had a DJ playing to keep the vibe super high. They also served dinner, which is so nice. We had chicken, pulled pork, dessert, and then we watched the beautiful sunset. And then we got our pool inflated and filled, and then we played some games until it was time for bed.
God, it's so just so cringe. Isn't the whole point of going to Coachella is having a good time and not having this expensive beds and stuff? I don't know. I mean, never been there, but it's just, it just seems to be way too over the top and cringy. And people are paying out thousands of dollars to go to this thing. Now, I was reading other articles saying, "Oh, well, it's a zero interest loan." Well, it's still a loan. Still, you're taking out loans in order to go to a music festival. I mean, if you can't afford to go to a music festival, you probably shouldn't be going. But whatever. You do whatever you want to do, and you wouldn't go into debt because you got to go to the music festival. Well, it's on you. It's not on me. So let's see. Let's go to here. There we go. Once again, earlier this week, Puerto Rico had another massive power outage. Again, we discussed this before on the show. Every time they have a power outage, it pops up in the news, and of course, I have to, discuss it. It's like, why does this keep happening? What you know? You wrote a piece and you don't know what's happening. Crews once again worked to restore power to Puerto Rico after a massive blackout. The latest to strike the island's beleaguered power grid. An island-wide blackout hit the U.S. territory April 16th, a couple days ago. An issue Governor Jennifer Gonzalez Colon called unacceptable. By the morning of April 18th, nearly all customers had their power restored, according to Luma Energy, which is the private company that runs Puerto Rico's energy grid. and they keep increasing electric bills without fixing the power grid. But again, I'm sure that they'll deny that. So, well, we've done everything to no, you didn't. You've done nothing. Why do you keep getting power outages then? The already fragile power grid has been repeatedly damaged by hurricanes, leading to regular rolling blackouts. About 1.2 million customers spent New Year's Eve without power. Again, we discussed this on the show too. Last major power outage was New Year's Eve, which also took days to resolve. And compounding crisis is driven by climate change. No, not really. The COVID-19 pandemic, okay, and fiscal pressures that have pushed the grid to a breaking point. Cecilio Ortiz Garcia, the co-founder of the University of Puerto Rico's National Institute of Energy and Island Sustainability, previously told USA Today, what a mouthful that was. The grid has become the poster child of a decay of the colonial system, its institutions, and a very vulnerable population, Ortiz Garcia said. Hurricanes pummeled the power grid. Hurricane Maria knocked out power to Puerto Rico, causing the largest blackout in U.S. history, and the second largest in the world. According to the Rodihiam Group, a policy analysis firm, took nearly a year to completely restore power after the Category 4 storm slammed the island on September 20th, 2017. That was the infamous Trump picture where he used a paper towel as a basketball. So that was Trump's first 6 months in office there. Or his first term. Damage to the island's power grid caused by Hurricane Maria persists years later, and in 2022, Hurricane Fiona once again plunged the island into darkness, causing a blackout that affected the entire U.S. territory of 3.2 million people. It is unacceptable that 5 years after Hurricane Maria, nothing has fundamentally changed. Agustin Caribol, the San Juan-based senior manager of the energy transition at the Environmental Defense Fund, said in 2022, the energy crisis is dire, and Puerto Rico and the island's economy is suffering. Initially, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake rumbled across Puerto Rico in early 2020, knocking out power to the entire island. It's another thing. A big ass earthquake took place. I remember that. Former President Joe Biden approved billions of dollars in disaster funding for Puerto Rico and promised the then Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm would lead to a supercharged effort to modernize Puerto Rico's power grid.
Speaking of Joe Biden, we should talk about how he spoke again this weekend.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Spoiler alert, that supercharged effort to modernize Puerto Rico's power grid never happened. For years, Puerto Rico has also faced a debt crisis, which left the island unable to afford and to maintain the grid. According to Laura, professor of public policy and urban affairs, international affairs at Northwestern Eastern University. Again, another mouthful. The lack of maintenance combined with centralized top-down system makes the grid particularly vulnerable to massive outages. She told USA Today in January. In contrast, in Puerto Rico have, for example, a lot of renewal.
Today.
What?
She didn't tell USA Today.
Oh, global news. In contrast, Puerto Rico had, for example, a lot of renewable energy sources where the generation was more distributed. Even individual outages wouldn't have these widespread repercussions, he said. Power companies face protests and financial problems. The Puerto Rico Power Authorities also grapple with chronic financial problems, facing a $9 billion in debt. The troubled power company effectively filed for bankruptcy in summer 2017. In 2020, the Power Authority signed a 15-year contract with LUMA, the Canadian American Energy Consortium, which is, the private company that owns the power grid right now. And all these problems, or a lot of them, are their fault. The company pledged to reduce the frequency and length of power interruptions. Bullshit, but the outages persisted. Puerto Ricans, including rapper Bad Bunny, have repeatedly protested against LUMA Energy and called on the governor to cancel LUMA's contract. The most recent blackout renewed these calls for the Puerto Rican government to cancel its contract with LUMA and Genera PR, the company that generates the power, according to the Associated Press. Gonzalez Colon, the governor, said the process of canceling the contract with LUMA and finding possible replacement would be slow. Of course. I mean, is ultimately, she's a Trump-supporting, privatized type of person, so she's like, nope. Like, well, the process would be slow. Eventually, we'll maybe we'll cancel the contract at some point. So let's see. Allegedly, the claim is now Luma claims that 98.8% of Puerto Ricans have power after 2 days. Yay! It's power's been restored to nearly 99% of customers, Luma Energy said in an update early Friday.
Still not 100%.
Congratulations. No, I mean, they're patting themselves in the back, acting like, they accomplished something. Luma Energy gave the update at 5 in the morning on Friday, saying that almost 1.5 million people, or 98.8% of their customers, now have their power restored. Luma remains focused on completing the restoration and will continue working until all customers have service. The statement from Luma Energy read, as of 5 a.m. on April 18th, Luma had restored power to 1,450,367 customers, representing a 98.8% of the total in less than 48 hours since the island-wide outage began.
So the overall
Congratulations.
customers is like 1,600,000. Would
Yeah.
that be correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's the island's population is 3.5 million right now, so that I assume per customer means like every household, and so yeah, that's because there's also a lot of businesses there. So it's kind of the number is kind of confusing there, but it's 98% of the population in less than 48 hours. So yeah, what do you want, a cookie? I mean, that should be it's what you should do anyways. With this progress, Luma has met its initial projection of restoring service to at least 90% of the customers by 12:40 p.m. on Friday. The statement continued. The Luma Energy Emergency Operations Center, LEOC, remains active, and teams continue to work quickly and safely to stabilize the system and restore service to the remaining customers. Luma said even though their work is nearly completion, some customers may continue to experience temporary interruptions due to limited generation. So here we go again, even though it's, oh, well, I mean, we're almost done with our work, but by the way, some customers still may have outages. Basically.
I mean, what can we do?
We can't do nothing about it. Between 98 to 100% of hospitals in most regions have their power restored, along with most water and telecommunication systems, 100% of correctional institutions. Hey, by the way, guys, all the jails and prisons have their power. Most important thing, right?
Yeah.
They're bragging about how, 100% of correctional
Build
institutions.
more schools than prisons. Build more
they have their power. Unbelievable. Hey Max, thank you for joining us, man. Yeah, that's true. I mean, 100, at least all the correctional facilities have their power. Look at this: between 98 to 100% of hospitals have their power. So there's possibility that few hospitals don't have their power still, but all the prisons do. All the jails have their power in Puerto Rico. That's where their priorities are at, by the way. The company continues to prioritize restoring critical infrastructure, including hospitals, water plants, airports, and emergency services, Luma said.
Man, I mean, just compared to China's infrastructure, I mean, it's second to none.
Yeah. I mean, it's years and years of this crap. China, at least, you haven't heard any major issues out there when it comes to their power, at least. The private power company, which is responsible for the power transmission on the island, said that the massive outage appears to have been caused by a combination of factors, including a failure in the protection system as initial trigger, and vegetation on a transmission line between the areas of Campeche and Manati along the northern coast of the island. So they're blaming it on vegetation on a transmission line. That's what they're blaming it on. Why didn't you guys, cut the vegetation around it and make sure that it wasn't getting into the power lines, so it would take out the power? If vegetation is all it takes, that there's something wrong there, and you're not doing your job effectively. Because Puerto Rico is full of vegetation and it's full of wildlife and it's green out there. It's a lot of vegetation. So if you guys don't know how to handle that, maybe you shouldn't be responsible for the electrical grid. This latest outage is the latest in a series of significant blackouts that have plagued the island over the recent years, following the devastation of Hurricane Maria in 2017, which destroyed much of the power grid. In December, Puerto Rico experienced an island-wide blackout on New Year's Eve when an underground power line plunged into the island to darkness for 2 days. Power outages are so common in Puerto Rico that many residents have installed solar panels and batteries in their homes and businesses. The ongoing instability of the power grid also led to protests, with many criticizing Luma, who took over power transmission and distribution in 2021. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, they got 100% power back to prisons. Like, I can't get over that.
Yeah.
I can't get over it. I'm sorry. Back Cookie said I stopped to hit the like button and say Angel is the GOAT. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that comment. I try. I try, but I appreciate the comment. So let's see. So yeah, I mean, I've told this story before, but last time I went to Puerto Rico was like 6 months before Hurricane Maria in 2017. This is when Trump first took office, and we had a power outage for the entire day on a Thursday. And the reason why I remember the day was because my phone died and I couldn't use it the entire day. So I basically sat around with my uncle drinking beers and talking. That's all we did that day. Just sat on the front porch. So it was a nice day, but at the same time, it was like, come on, really? So the Puerto Rican power grid has had issues for years and years, even before Luma took over. But it's gotten much worse under Luma compared to what it was before.
So is that I forget the name of that comedian, but is that what he meant when he said Puerto Rico is an island of garbage or whatever he said?
Tony Hinchcliffe. I mean, yeah. I mean that there. You see, before I know people are gonna get like a lot of people try to be said when it comes to Tony Hinchcliffe. He's one of these roast comedians who likes roasting everyone and everything. So when he said Puerto Rico is an island of garbage, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. But at the same time, though, the reason why he said the island of garbage comments because Puerto Rico has a garbage issue, which basically means that there is garbage from the United States, by the way, floating towards Puerto Rico, and the island surrounded by garbage, pretty much. So it was directly referencing that, but at the same time, he didn't make that clear, and mostly white liberals took offense to it. Some Puerto Ricans did too, but it wasn't enough to affect the election because Trump still won, and he won nearly 40% of Latino votes. So,
Yeah.
some were outraged, but we need a Puerto Rican episode. Then the week of the Puerto Rican parade, let's get it. When is the Puerto Rican parade? I mean, because I need to know that because I would love to do an episode on Puerto Rico with you, but we just need to set it up proper and make sure I can do it. Everyone knows Trump coerced him to keep him locked up. Trump is a pile of feces we need to wash off the face of the earth. Okay,
we're talking about the one who was just deported, or is that who he's?
I assume so. I assume he's talking about Kilmore Abrego Garcia, but we'll get to him a little bit later. But yeah, I'm assuming that's who he referring to. Appreciate that opinion. I mean, please like and subscribe. Let's see. Yeah, so Puerto Rico is kind of screwed, and as long as this private firm has control of the power grid, is going to be much worse. Problem is, the government owes billions of dollars, so canceling that contract means that they're not able to pay their debts back. If they can't pay their debts back to the Wall Street vulture capitalists, then that's going to be even worse. So who knows what they would do? But let's see here. So we can keep talking about Puerto Rico, but I want to do a full episode on the history of the island and what's going on there and what can be done, if anything. So another top story. I mean, I'm assuming everybody heard about the Florida State shooting.
Oh yeah.
Another shooting in the United States of America, by the way, which means it's just another Thursday. Or when did the shooting take place? Today or yesterday? I mean, it might have been yesterday.
It was either yesterday or the day before.
Yeah. So wait. Suspect accused of killing. Hold on. Let me do that. A suspect killing 2 people and injuring 6 people during a shooting spree in Florida University did not know his victims, police said Friday. The alleged gunman, 20-year-old FSU student Phoenix Eichner, began shooting around lunchtime on Thursday. Okay, yesterday. near the Student Union building in Tallahassee. The motive remains unclear. So it's on a Thursday in America. We have another mass shooting, and all we're gonna get, we already got Donald Trump saying, "Well, I believe in the Second Amendment, and I'm going to protect the Second Amendment." So there's not going to be any gun reform. So that's not going to happen.
I wonder
And we'll
what
have
David Hogg's going to do about it.
nothing. I believe the third week of June. Okay, well that's fine with me. We'll get. Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state, so he can't even grant them statehood. Yeah, I mean Trump. Trump says a lot of things. I mean, I don't think Canada's ever going to be the 51st state anyway, so that's something I'm that particularly concerned about.
Canadians, they're great people.
Yeah, I mean, Trump says a lot of shit. Doesn't mean ultimately, he's going to do any of it. Very little of it. Like he said that he's going to retake the Panama Canal. He didn't do that. He's going to take Greenland. Hasn't done that yet. So he just spouts out of the
He
mouth
was going to end the Ukraine war or whatever it was.
That's another thing. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to get to that a little bit later, where, there's major hypocrisy here from Donald Trump. The alleged gunman, blah, blah. The police said the gun was owned by his stepmother, Jessica Eichner, a veteran police officer. So he stole his mama's gun and started shooting people for some reason. In a video statement, mama, yeah. In a video statement, Tallahassee. I'm not trying to make light of this, but at the same time, it's like unfortunately we're so used to mass shootings in America that is like, oh, okay, it's another Thursday. In a video statement, Tallahassee Police Chief Lawrence Rivera said at this point there does not appear to be any connection between the shooter and any of the victims. Details about the victims begin to emerge Friday. One of two people killed was an employee of the food service provider Amarock, the company said on Friday. Charu Chababa, 45, of Greenville, South Carolina, was a married father of two. According to the statement from a law firm hired by his family, he was on a Florida campus working Thursday when the shooting began. So that employee died. It's a senseless act of violence. The company, which manages Florida State University on-campus dining program, said in the statement, "We're absolutely shaken by the news. Our deepest sympathies are with the family and the entire Amarock community." Yeah, they don't give a shit. I mean, it's a virtue signal. It's a virtue signal by the company. It's like, oh yeah, we're heartbroken by our low-level employee that was murdered at Florida State University. They don't care. That's a virtue signal. They just put out a meaningless statement saying, "Oh, we're so sorry to hear the death of our low-level employee that none of the executives ever met." The other dead victim, university dining worker Robert Morales, was identified by his sister, who posted a tribute online. His LinkedIn profile said he's working at FSU as a university dining coordinator since 2015. So I guess this is him here. No, this is the other dude working with Amarak, wherever that company name is. Okay, well, that's him there. A news conference on Friday, doctors at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare Hospital said 6 people were injured by gunshots in stable condition, with one seriously injured. Doctors said 2 of the victims were released from the hospital on Friday, and all were expected to make full recoveries. According to the police timeline, officers responded to an active shooter call shortly before midday local time on Thursday. An alert was issued warning students and those on campus to seek shelter and await further instructions. These days, the mass shootings are so common in schools, but they get alerts on their phones. Like, come on. And also, there's other parts of America that are teaching kids what to do during a mass shooting. Like, flip your desk, go underneath your desk, hide there until further instructions. Yeah. Or there's some companies that are selling book bags that are like body armor too. You put the book bags on, like body armor, so if you get shot, it won't go through. So it's like, is that what we're doing? Is like, oh yeah, disaster capitalism, guy. Oh yeah, I mean, we have massive mass shootings in this country. Let's not fix it. Let's turn a profit off of it, actually. So yeah, all we did back in my day when I was in school was the fire drill, which is fine. And I'm old enough to have done those nuclear bomb drills they used to do, where they would go down to the basement and you would stay in the basement when a nuclear bomb went off. Because I'm old enough to have done those drills once or twice. So Yeah, that's the only drills we did when I was in school. So let's see. According to police timeline, blah blah blah. The alert was issued warning students. So, okay, one of my classmates got an alert on her phone and announced it to the rest of the class. Another student, Blake Leonard, told CBS he initially heard roughly 12 shots fired. In my head, I thought it was construction at first until I looked behind me and saw people running from the Union towards my direction. Then I heard another 12 to 15 shots go off, so I ran from there too. The incident ended less than 5 minutes later when police shot Mr. Eichner after he did not comply with their commands, authorities said. He was undergoing treatment at a local hospital, police said. Uh is that for the gunshot wounds or for mental health? I don't think
Yeah.
it doesn't. It must have been from okay. He said
No,
Mr.
I meant as in I'm not sure what he meant either. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
I assume it's the gunshot wounds because it said Mr. Eichner has serious injuries that would be in a hospital for a significant time, after which he would face charges up to including first degree murder. So he lived through it, but he's in the hospital right now. Leon County Sheriff described the suspect's stepmother, Miss Eichner, who worked at a school resource officer, as a model employee. He said that the gun was used in the shooting was a police issued firearm that Miss Eichner kept for personal use, and after the force upgraded his weapons. A shotgun was also found in the scene. The suspect was a long-standing member of the Sheriff Office Youth Advisory Council and was engaged in another number of training programs. So this guy was basically it was a part of the police force pretty much. He was a sheriff. He's part of the youth advisory council, whatever that is,
Mhm.
and training programs. So he's going to be a cop most likely. So most likely he would have shot citizens if he
It
would
kind
have
of
made it.
reminds me of that kid who was working with BlackRock and shot Trump.
Yeah. Remember the Virginia Tech shootings? The first was, yeah, I mean, I remember all that. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that. It's these mass shootings are getting more and more common. The
Hmm.
suspect, blah, 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 access to weapons. So it's not surprising he had access to weapons. Court documents indicate the alleged gunman was largely raised by his
I would not
father.
be surprised, like when the GTA 6, what was it, the what is it called? The premiere or whatever, the lines when the game comes. I'm forgetting the term right now, but
The
I
midnight premiere?
huh
The midnight premiere or something like
midnight
that.
midnight
Release,
release.
yeah, release, yeah.
I would not be surprised if one of them if there was a shooting that happens. So
Yeah, that's why I'm getting the digital only PS5 and just reserving it digitally. So I downloaded the day before and it's
well, no,
ready and it
I'm still going to go to the midnight release, but it's just still something to keep in mind.
well yeah, true, but I'm just talking about what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
it downloaded day before and by the time it unlocks at midnight,
Mhm,
press the button, ready to go.
mhm.
That's what I'm gonna do personally. So like, blah blah blah. Court documents was raised by his father and stepmother. He was previously known as Christian Erickson and was a subject of a long-running custody dispute between his biological mother and father. He had health issues, including attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and a growth disorder, according to court documents. So mental health. I mean, that's ADHD right there, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
I'm surprised.
The
Are any people blaming this on video games again?
If this guy was a gamer, I'm sure they would blame games because that's what they see that's what the government does. Republicans especially, they try to blame games. I remember when every Grand Theft Auto came out, they are about to come out. There's always something that was
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto's fault.
Hmm.
Either when San Andreas came out, or GTA 3, or 4 or 5. It was always something, and it was somehow Grand Theft Auto's fault. FSU News said that Mr. Eichner was
No,
registered to
FSU.
FSU. What did I say?
You said FU.
Oh, sorry, FSU. Uh, who he? They said Mr. Eichner was registered to vote as a Republican. Commented about anti-Trump protesters. These people are usually pretty entertaining, usually not for good reasons. President Donald Trump, who was briefed on the incident, called the shooting a shame and a horrible thing. Here we go. When asked about report by reporters whether he wanted to change gun regulations in light of the shooting, he said he was a big advocate of the Second Amendment in the U.S. Constitution, which protects gun rights. So, in other words, no. I've been since the beginning. He said I protected it. These things are terrible. We will have more to say about it later.
In
So
other words,
basically,
no, we won't have anything more to say
nope.
about it later.
We got no. We're not going to do anything, and we will not say nothing about it. Which they haven't. That's the only comment I heard from the administration was this right there.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah. So another tragic shooting at the at Florida. And Max says they're making desks with boxes built into a little bit of armor. That's what it is. That's what it is, not the book bags. It's thank you. Exactly what it is. They're making desks with boxes. So they flip over the desk, they build out the box, and they sit there until the shooting's over. So yeah, take advantage of it. Capitalism. That's what
Not
capitalism is.
communism. Not communism.
No. Did I just close that by accident? I did. All right. Well, let's just do this. So, the United States will abandon Ukraine peace push if no progress soon. By the way, Donald Trump is a total hypocrite when it comes to Ukraine because we go over and over again throughout his presidency, or throughout the campaign, he would say, "Well, I mean, I'll have the war ended in 24 hours. I'll have the war ended in 24 hours. We can quickly get it done. We can quickly get it done." And we've been 3-4 months into the administration and nothing is done. They've had a few talks here and there, but nothing has really come about it so far. So that's really small. I don't know why. Hold on. It's still kind of small. Hold on a second. I could barely read it. That's a little better. The United States will walk away from efforts to broker a Russia-Ukraine peace deal unless there's clear signs of progress soon. In other words, they'll use any excuse to walk away. U.S. President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Friday, "Quickly, we want to get it done," Trump told
No,
reporters at
you
the White
don't.
House. No, you don't, dude. You would have done it already. Because, Russia already won this war. You just say, look, you can have Donetsk and you can have that eastern Ukraine region. Ukraine gets this, and great. Let's end this war and move on with our lives. But why have you done it? Now, for some reason, one of the two party wants to make it very difficult. We're going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people. We're going to take a pass, but hopefully it won't come to that. So they didn't say who, but I'm sure they're referring to Russia. Like Russia's apparently making it difficult, even though they have no reason to because they're winning this war. Trump comments were followed by Rubio, his top diplomat, who said the sides just had just wait, who said the sides had just days to show progress or Washington would walk. We are not going to continue this endeavor for weeks and months on end, so we need to determine very quickly now. I'm talking about a matter of days, whether this is doable in the next few weeks, Rubio said in Paris after meeting European and Ukrainian leaders. Um, Again, I mean, who cares what the U.S. does? I mean, Russia's winning this war. They're not really bothered to try to get a peace deal done quickly. This is just the U.S. looking for excuses and not do the deal and continue this proxy war. If it's not possible, we are so far apart, this is not going to happen. And I think the president is probably at a point where he's going to say, well, we're done. When Trump, when asked, declined to set a specific deadline for how long he was willing to wait. Marco's right in saying we want it to end, Trump said. Asked if Russian President Vladimir Putin was stalling, Trump replied, I hope not. Over the past few weeks, Trump officials have acknowledged privately the chances of a quick peace deal in Ukraine have grown elusive. Rubio comments that 3 European diplomats reflected growing frustration in the White House over Russian intransigence to end the war. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that some progress on a peace settlement had already been made, but the contacts with Washington were difficult. He said Russia was striving to solve the conflict while ensuring its own interests. Moscow remained open to dialogue with the United States, he added. U.S. officials were also frustrated by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's comment this week that Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff was spreading Russian narratives, then said that it's not helpful to the process. One U.S. official said, Zelensky should just shut up because honestly, it's like like he's not.
I
Trump is
hate
going to lose
hearing his voice every single time. It's so annoying.
Trump is going to lose his patience with these guys, and then they have enough space where normal people can get into them. Yeah, I mean that's classic capitalism there. Like we were talking about earlier. Like, hey, let's not fix the problem. Let's make a profit off of it with mass shootings and stuff in schools. The talks in Paris on Thursday were first substantive, high-level in-person talks on Trump peace push that have included European powers. Rubio said a U.S. peace framework he presented received an encouraging reception. Zelensky's office called the talks constructive and positive. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, speaking in Rome as he met with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, said that he was optimistic the United States could help end this very brutal war. U.S. officials said that both sides would re-engage in London next week, giving Ukraine time to agree to a term sheet presented by Washington. Kyiv said it was ready for comprehensive ceasefire over sea, land, and air for at least 30 days or longer, the official said. Russia's never going to agree to temporary ceasefire. They're winning this war. Basically, what 30 days is going to do is let Ukraine rearm itself and repopulate its military. So it's not going to happen. Russia's never going to agree to a temporary ceasefire. This is a waste of time. Growing frustrations as peace deal elusive, blah, blah, blah. So basically, yeah, there's no peace deal and there probably won't be a peace deal.
Has Tulsi Gabbard said anything about this? Because I know she was, wanting, at least talking about,
Well, as
Russia.
far as I know, no. I mean, she hasn't said anything about this.
Yeah.
So, of course not. I mean, she's part of the administration now. So, what the hell? Why is this not? Oh, Lord. All right. So, I want to show. Hold on. I hope I saved that video. I retweeted it. Hold on. It's a video exposing Trump's hypocrisy. I hope I can find it. It's not that one. We'll get to that in a moment. Where is it? It's a video of basically it's a video of Trump, saying what he said during the campaign, and then once he started running for president, he said something completely different. I hope I have it because damn, hold on, I don't have it. No, I know it's in my messages. That's what it is. Bear with me 1 second. I gotta find this video first, and then we'll get to it. It's not here, I don't think, is it? Oops. Yeah, this is it. I hope nobody's hearing that yelling outside my window.
I do hear it a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Damn, hope they didn't remove the video. Just bear with me 1 second. I didn't, because I saw it and now I think it's gone.
Maybe just type it in and see if there's another account that posts
Oops.
it.
Damn, I think it's gone. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I mean, it was. Hold on. Because it was a video about. I'm not sure if it was removed or. It was No Himbo made that video.
Of course.
I'm not sure if he took it down or it was taken down from his channel, but I don't see it here right now. Oh no, here it is.
Oh.
Okay, I found it. So just bear with. All right, now we're. So this is from Hotspot. This is Trump before and Trump now. So
we could end the Ukraine conflict in 24 hours with the right leadership. I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine totally settled. I'll have it done in 24 hours. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly.
quickly.
I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order. And it will take me no longer than one day. If I win this election, the first thing I'm going to do is call up Zelensky and call up President Putin, and I'm going to say, you got to make a deal. This is crazy. I'm president. I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. And even now, I could solve that in 24 hours. Shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. Ukraine and Russia, and the stupidity with... I will get that negotiated and ended before I ever take office. I'll do it after the...
Yeah, that's not me. That's whoever edited this.
election as president-elect. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled, and we'll do it quickly. I would get a settlement in 24 hours with Ukraine and Russia. I will get them to settle that war very quickly, even before I become president, as a president-elect, within 24 hours. And if I win, before I get into the office, I will have that war settled. 100% sure. And I'll stop that war, mark my words, I'll stop that war in 24 hours. You have to get them both in a room, and there are things you can say to each one of them, which I won't reveal now, which will guarantee that this war will end immediately.
And that to get it solved, I can do it in 24 hours.
Would have a deal done in 24 hours from the time we started. So if I were president, and I say this, I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours.
End the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
Yes, I
How would you do that?
I know Zelensky very well.
Zelensky.
If for some reason...
I know Zelensky very well. What kind of excuse? Hold on, it's not. All right, this is now. This is President Trump now.
Of the two parties makes it very difficult. We're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. No, Marco's right in saying it. We want to see it end.
No one's saying this can be done in 12 hours, but we want to see how far.
No, Trump said it'd be done in 24 hours, not 12 hours. So nobody said it'd be done in 12 hours, right?
It's Rubio.
hard it is and whether those differences can even be narrowed. We need to figure out here now within a matter of days whether this is doable in the short term, because if it's not, then I think we're just going to move on. If it's not possible, if we're so far apart that this is not going to happen, then I think the president's probably at a point where he's going to say, well, we're done.
But as a candidate, you said you would have this war settled in 24 hours.
Well, I was being a little bit sarcastic when I said that.
Oh, you were being sarcastic.
I was being a little sarcastic when I said that. Oh, you actually expect me to end the war in 24 hours?
Fuck you.
Oh, shit. Well, I wasn't expecting you to actually hold me accountable for that. Oops, well, don't play that, but yeah, you get it.
Got fooled again meme.
Oh, yeah. Indy and all the guys have been sharing that like crazy, like we got fooled again meme. It's at this point, it's a meme when it comes to Trump supporters. Everything, they constantly get fooled by it, Like first it was the Ukraine war ending in 24 hours. It was
it's just like the walls are closing in meme. It's like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It'll happen
with liberals. So the Trump administration shared this real quick. This is what the COVID.gov site is now. Lab leak, the true origins of COVID-19. For some reason, Trump is there, but so now it's blaming the virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. Data shows that all COVID-19 cases, basically it basically blames it on a as you can see here in Wuhan. Yeah, the administration's official position, the U.S. government now. Gain of function research. EcoHealth and NIH failures, basically blaming it on Dr. Fauci again, I'm sure. There's Anthony Fauci pardon, a full unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States where he may have been committed from January 1st, 2014 to today. So that's Biden's pardon, blah, blah, blah. New York pandemic failures. Let's throw Andrew Cuomo under the bus. He was terrible during COVID.
Can you imagine if Andrew Cuomo wins?
Andrew Cuomo is running for mayor of New York City. So We talked about it with David on a few episodes ago, which he's like leading in the polls right now. So yeah, I mean that's the lab leak COVID-19 thing. By the way, you should make sure to get your appointment to get your next vaccine shot, whatever. So it's very important. Blah, blah, blah. So let's see. Fred says pass the hummus. Oops. Why did that just pop up there? Yeah, let's do that. Uh, why? Hold on. Bear with me 1 second. All right, here we go. All right, we're good. Um, yeah, I just wanted to show that. Get rid of that. Rid of that. So get rid of that. We'll get to that in a moment. Oh yeah, let's just get to Abrego Garcia.
Mhm.
Who the left is
He
openly
sounded like Armando Alejandro Estrada.
yeah, I mean, that's his name. So, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's like I don't know why the left is harping on this guy. I mean, at best, I mean, this guy is allegedly MS-13. He's allegedly did human trafficking. But to me, the one
But
that's
hasn't it been debunked?
yeah, but there's police reports and there's court rulings on this and stuff. So it's not necessarily been debunked, but at the same time, it's like I don't know what's true and what isn't true because there are court papers and police reports. But the one thing that it's almost positive that is true is the fact that he's a wife beater. This woman has filed so many police reports and restraining orders against this guy that they're floating around the internet. A bunch of them are floating around the internet now. So and this is not to smear this guy, but it's part of the fact basis. I mean, he's been there are police reports against him, and there's these protection orders against him by his wife. Here's for an example. Here's Abrego Garcia. DHS releases report and body cam image from Kilmar Abrego Garcia's 2022 traffic stop by Tennessee Highway Patrol, where he was suspected of human trafficking. According to the report, he was transporting eight individuals with no luggage, claiming that they were heading from Texas to Maryland for construction work. He was evasive during questioning, driving with expired license, and all passengers listed the same home address, Abrego Garcia's. So this is the actual report. That's definitely him right there. I mean, um, so this is from the Department of Homeland Security in 2022. Joe Biden was president then, so they can't say this is a Trump thing. Subject was observed speeding and unable to maintain his lane, and subsequently pulled over by Trooper Blank of the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Upon approach to the vehicle, encountering the officer, noted there were 8 other individuals in the vehicle with the subject, who was later identified as the driver. Subject stated he was driving 3 days ago from Houston, Texas to Temple Hills, Maryland, via St. Louis, Missouri, to bring people to perform construction work. There was no luggage in the vehicle, leading to the accounting officer to suspect it was a human trafficking incident. All passengers gave the same address as the subject's home address. In other words, they gave Abrego Garcia's address. During the interview, subject pretended to speak less English than he was capable of and attempted to put encountering officer off track by responding to questions with questions. And when asked what relationship he had with registered owner of the vehicle, the subject replied that the owner of the vehicle is his boss. And that his work is in construction. Encountering officer decided not to cite the subject for driving infractions, but gave him a warning citation for driving with an expired driver's license. Subject driver license is a Maryland limited term temporary. Encountering officer gathered the names of the other occupants in the vehicle, but could not read their handwriting, but did not pursue further due to no citation being issued. As a result, he did not pass the names, date of birth, or IDs of these individuals. No incident report number is created, but the computer-aided dispatch number is 622057620. But he suspected human trafficking, but did nothing about it and just let him go. Now, reading this report, I'm kind of questioning this human trafficking thing.
Fred Edwards sent you a couple links to tweets you might want to check out.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on a second. Just bear. I'll click on him in a moment. It's just not letting me do it right now. Yeah. So I'm kind of questioning that human trafficking incident after reading the Homeland Security report. Because why in the world would if the cops suspected human trafficking, why in the world did they just let him go? It's like, oh yeah, I suspect human trafficking. Well, I don't have enough evidence, so I'm just gonna let him go and be trafficked. If you suspected human trafficking, I would assume you would at least hold them long enough to ask more questions instead of just having them scribble their names, which you can't read, and then just letting them go. Like that's just strange to me. It's just absolutely like strange. That's why I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this. Initially, I did, but after reading that report, I'm like, yeah, it's total bullshit, or at the very least, questionable. At the very least, it's questionable. Let's see. I clicked on the first link here. Oh, that's just sharing my stream.
Oh,
That's what it is. Thank you for sharing the stream. Um, Make sure like and subscribe as well. This is sharing my screen. Stream. Let me try it again. And all right, so yeah, I'm questioning this after all. This isn't something to me that is like viable. But so there's this though. I wanted to show, and then we'll get to Donald Trump and Nayib Bukele. And their thoughts. So this is one of the protection order sheets that she wrote out. There's multiple of these, by the way. So this is from May 5th, or oh no, March 5th, 2021. So this is her why she needs a protection order.
Wait. I think it is from May 5th, 2021.
It's either a 3 or 5. It looks,
It looks
like
like
a.
a 5. It looks like, oh, wait.
Hold on,
Yeah.
let me just do
It
that.
probably is a 5. I think it's a 5.
Yeah, it looks like a 5. Once I made it, closer there. Yeah, so it's May 5th, 2021. I told him to give me his card to pay. He got angry, started insulting me. Only. So, what's that say?
He's
Sounds. Yeah, insulting me. Only lonely puta, which is bitch in Spanish. Few of gas. Once leaving there, he pulled out like crazy. Her English is probably not that good either, so I started recording because I was scared of the way he was driving and because our 1-year-old was in the back seat. Okay. In the recording, you can hear him yelling, insulting me, driving extremely fast. On May, it is May because it's better 5 here. May 4th, 2021 at 1. I was watching on my laptop and he yelled at me to turn it off. I told him I wasn't sleepy. He got angry, reached over, shut, and threw my laptop on the floor. And the baby started to cry because he was putting pressure on him. My immediate reaction was to push him off of us. He then scratched me on my left eye, leaving me bleeding. That same day at 2 p.m., he came home to say he was going out with a friend. I told him that I needed to go out to pick up some orders at BJ's. He got angry and started yelling again to the point where he ripped my shorts and shirt off and I ran to the bathroom. He rammed me wait he ran me behind something and grabbed me by my arm. I have marks on my left arm as well. And then he left, came home at noon. I left my car parked in the neighborhood into the morning. I asked him for the key. He said he wasn't going to give it to me because he has things to do. I ordered an Uber to leave with my kids because I was scared of him. Minutes later, he called that our car wasn't there anymore. At this point, I am afraid to be close to him. I have multiple photos and videos how violent he can be, and all the bruises he has left me. The children are with me. So that's one of the protection orders that she's filed over the last few years on him. So does it mean that he belongs in a maximum security prison? Probably not, but at the same time, and this guy is not exactly a pillar of the community, let's say. So he's allegedly MS-13, and he's allegedly a human trafficker. Even though I don't buy that. Once I read the report, I was like, yeah, that's pushing it with the human trafficking thing. So let's see. So let's get to Donald Trump and Bukele, the president of El Salvador. Here we go. This is the full clip here. A lot of liberals tend to be sharing this stuff. Still not crimes that lead to deportation without due process. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are, he isn't like a pillar of the community, but it doesn't mean that he deserves to be deported to a maximum security prison for the worst criminals. So let's see here. So this is President Trump has multiple members of his admin to take turns ripping CNN's Caitlin Collins after she asked why an alleged MS-13 member was deported to El Salvador. So
Could turn the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported. The man who was
Which one is it?
deported to El Salvador.
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was a paperwork.
In fact, there are documents that have been shared on the internet, like basically saying there were two judges that ruled that there was enough evidence to assume that he was MS-13. So let me see. There's also a video of his wife being interviewed, and she was asked about the restraining orders, and she didn't have a good answer with that. So why she ain't filed those restraining orders? Where is it? Here it is. So real quick, I'll just share this. Oh, here we go.
Also, why the fuck would you have an airplane on your desk?
What's funny is when I saw that, I thought when I made the thumbnail and I saw the plane, I'm like, who put a plane there? I thought somebody edited a photo of a plane. No, it turns out he has a plane on his desk. I think that's a replica Air Force One, I assume. But why would they have it there? I don't know. So this is the Department of Justice Executive Office for Immigration Review immigration report in Baltimore, and the matter of Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. It sounds like Armando had a story. Yeah. So and this part here,
my God.
And this part here is the highlighted part. The immigration judge has broad discretion to consider any matter deemed relevant, determining whether the alien's release on bond is permissible or advisable. Noting that the immigration judge may choose to give greater weight to one factor over the others as long as the decision is reasonable. Relevant factors include whether the alien has a fixed address in the United States. The alien is, the illegal alien because under U.S. law, illegals are called aliens, so it's not. That's why they keep saying alien. The alien's length of residence in the United States, the alien's family ties in the United States, and whether that may entitle the alien to reside permanently in the United States in the
couldn't
future.
It say something else instead of alien? Come on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People are like, it's like other people pointed that out. The alien's employment history, the alien's record of appearance in court, the alien's criminal record, including the extensiveness of criminal activity, the recent nature of such activity, and the seriousness of the offenses, the alien's history of immigration violations, any attempt of the alien to flee prosecution
It's
or
like we have to
otherwise
take
escape.
shots every time they say alien.
Yeah. It's like how many take a shot every time you say the alien. I'll be passed out right now. Any attempt of the alien to free blah blah blah. The alien's manner of entering the United States. After considering the information provided by both parties, the court concluded that no bond was appropriate in this matter. The court first reasoned that the respondent failed to meet his burden of demonstrating that his release from custody would not pose a danger to others, as the evidence shows he's a verified member of MS-13. So this is what a lot of people are pointing to as evidence that, a court ruled that he was MS-13. Well, here's the issue with immigration court. They don't. It's not the burden of evidence is not beyond a reasonable doubt like it is in criminal court. So if the Department of Justice give, like for example, so like there's evidence that MS-13 wears Chicago Bulls jerseys and hats. They could have said that, or he has certain tattoos on his knuckles that proves the MS-13. Yeah. So that's all the evidence they would need to say the evidence shows that he's a verified member of MS-13. Again, I'm not saying he's MS-13. I'm just saying there's court documents alleging that he's MS-13. Mm-hmm. So that's why the administration here said, that's why Pam Bondi here said that he was MS-13. Mm-hmm. Indy says Bukaki. Fred Edwards with an alien symbol there. Yeah, I mean, they used alien there like 10 times in that court document. In one paragraph, it was like, the alien this, the alien that, the alien this,
I love
the
aliens.
alien that.
They're great people. They're great.
Yeah, the alien, the alien, the alien. I'm like, come on. I mean, it's like dehumanizing to call someone an alien, I think. But they still, that's the legal term for people who are here who come in as immigrants. So that's why they keep calling them aliens. So let's keep going with
paperwork. It was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him?
Which is what the Supreme Court said, that 9-0 decision. The U.S. had to, if El Salvador decided to return him to the U.S. would have to provide a plane, or they would have to provide a mode of return. So it didn't say that the U.S. had to go get him, basically. So there's a lot of confusion on that.
You are doing a great job.
You are doing a great job.
Wait a minute.
Because you said exactly what I wanted you to.
Can you just also respond to that question?
Stephen, could you reply to that?
They always ask it with a slant because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody.
Could you say it for me? Because I can't say it for them. Please help me.
Yeah. That's like, oh, hey, Stephen Miller, you want to answer this question too? I mean, CNN's horrible and they treat me like shit, but.
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador.
Alien.
So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very...
Which is another issue that the left is facing here over this guy. He's a citizen of El Salvador. It's not like they deported him to the wrong country. The administrative error was deporting him to the prison, not deporting him to the wrong country. So he's a citizen of El Salvador. So yeah, that's another issue. Like, that's what I want to mention too.
Arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point.
The alien refused to turn over the keys to his flying saucer.
When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States.
See, that's what they're hanging their hat on. When President Trump declared MS-13 a terrorist organization, that took away, because they allege he's MS-13, so that took away all of his rights to stay here in the U.S. So that's what they're hanging their hat on.
So we had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States, and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised with the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you...
I have no sympathy for any gangster, especially MS-13. However, you haven't proved this guy's MS-13. You just said that he is, and you use tattoos and Chicago Bulls jerseys that he's MS-13. If he's MS-13, then fuck him. But you haven't proved that. So you just claim he's MS-13.
If he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan
But
to
the
ask
Supreme
for
Court is
to get
asking
it back?
to. And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0.
Was it 9-0? I don't remember. Even though I'm the president, you know. So was it 9-0 in our favor? I don't remember.
Even though I say I'm a very smart guy, I'm not a very smart guy.
Yeah.
In our favor.
In our favor,
right.
Against the district court ruling,
Was it?
saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back
sole
to the country,
discretion,
that we could deport him a second
Yeah,
time.
so basically,
No version of
the administration is trying to throw it on Bukele here. Like, oh, yeah, he has to return him to us. And Bukele is going to talk here and kind of like, oh, no, I can't do it. It's up to the United States. So they're trying to do this. You know, it's like, oh, no, it's not me. No, it's not me. He has to do it. Oh, no, it's not me. Trump has to do it. You know, so he's never coming back to the U.S., which is why I put in the title, he's stuck in the legal black hole, because nobody's going to return him to the U.S. no matter how many times the Supreme Court says he has to come back. So
version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked
¿Usted lo
President
liberaría,
Bukele,
Presidente
what is
Bukele?
can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
no.
Suppose you're suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
Oh, that's disingenuous. I'm not sure you heard what he said, but it's like, oh, how am I supposed to smuggle a terrorist back into the United States? It's so disingenuous.
Yeah.
It's like, look, you're the president of the country. He's not like, well, I have no authority to return him. Like, you're the president of the country. It's like, I assume you have the authority. If you don't, who does?
How can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States. What do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I?
The question's
smuggle a
preposterous.
terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
I don't have the power to return to the United States. Then who does? I'm not saying he should come back. I mean, as far as I don't know whether he's a gangster or not, but we all pretty much know he's a wife beater. I mean, but yeah, I mean, like, he's disingenuous because he's the president of the country. All he has to do is say, "Oh yeah, okay, fine, I'll return him," and he'll be back here. But no, he's saying, "Oh well, shit, man, I can't do it. I'm the most powerful man in the country, but I can't do it." So he's basically saying, "No, I'm not going to return him. So fuck you."
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder.
He just accused him to being. He's accused Kilmar Garcia of being a terrorist.
What does that mean anymore?
Yeah, it's like, if you oppose the government in charge, you're a terrorist these days. No matter it's here in the U.S. or El Salvador or Russia or China or Turkey. We talked about Turkey a few weeks ago. If you oppose the government, you're a terrorist pretty much these days. So the word terrorist has no meaning pretty much.
Yeah.
The Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world. No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, you know.
Well, they'd love to have.
There's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
CNN will love.
These are sick people.
These are sick people here.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Island, I don't understand what the confusion is.
Hey, Marco, you have something to say? And he's looking at that look. Oh, yeah, Mr. President. Oh yeah, yes, Mr. President. I'll kiss your ass and say everything you want me to say.
This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. Except for Venezuela, that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States.
Which is something else they're hanging their hat on. The administration's calling this a foreign policy issue, so the courts have no authority to rule on the administration's foreign policy, which is true. But the issue is, as Fred says, Bukele took a $6 million payment. So legally, that would make El Salvador a contractor of the U.S. So that changes things. That changes things because it's not really a foreign policy. We're paying him money to take all these people off our hands, basically. Bukele has no power to authorize who goes in and out of his own prison. Yeah, that's basically, that's what he's claiming. He's claiming, well, I have no authority that goes in and out of my prison, so sorry, I'm not releasing him. Fred Edwards says, point of order, MS-13 is CIA funded. So they are government employees. Again, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me. Anything the CIA does is not shocking to me. They're also drug traffickers. They traffic humans. They also torture people, allegedly. So everything they've done is horrible. Oh, by the way, I have no interest in self-deleting or anything like that. Just in case, something happens. I don't want to self-delete. I want to live my life normally, so just saying, because the CIA has a history of deleting people and then calling it self-deletion. Just saying, just putting it out there. But I don't want, I love living life and I love, being around. So, let's see. Let's get to this. This is Bukele's X account. This is when Chris Van Hollen, the senator from Maryland, he's down there in El Salvador. He finally got to meet with this guy, Kilmar Garcia. So Nayib Bukele says Kilmar Abrego Garcia miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in a tropical paradise of El Salvador. There is margaritas here. Apparently, according to Van Hollen, the government agents or government people put that there in order to make him look bad. And Bukele kind of admitted to it. Is like, there's the margaritas right here with the cherries there. So allegedly, it was Bukele's government who did that just to make him look bad. And Bukele's kind of admitted to it. Honestly, it's like, we put him there, but they were enjoying margaritas though. Trust us. So I don't know why Van Hollen kind of wasted his time there. Because ultimately, Bukele went on to say this about an hour or two later. He went on to say, now he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. And there's a U.S. flag handshaking with El Salvador. So he's not getting out of prison. So I'm not sure he's innocent or guilty, but, but there's no intention of releasing this guy anytime soon. And especially deporting him back to the United States. Or sending him back to the United States. Let's see. Venezuela's not refusing to take back Venezuelans. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Trump administration just lied about that. Margaritas are clear in El Salvador. I guess so, because that's the claim is those are margaritas. So Fred also said we should deport the CIA. That'd be great, but that's not going to happen. I mean, let's see. The White House put this out, a New York Times front page article. So what it says is Senator meets with wrongly deported Maryland man in El Salvador. The White House kind of edited this. The senator meets with deported Maryland man with deported MS-13 illegal alien in El Salvador who's never coming back. So the White House official Twitter account fixed the they fixed the headline. So Yeah, no matter what the courts say, no matter what everything, no matter what, he's not coming back. So to me, this seems to be kind of a waste of time. And Van Hollen here is kind of grandstanding because I'm starting to think he wants to run for president. Like he's using this guy, Kilmar Garcia, to put himself over with liberals. And there's already a lot of these liberals like, oh my God, Chris Van Hollen, what a leader! He went down to El Salvador and forced Bukele to, force him to see this guy, Kilmar Garcia, and I mean, what a great leader. I hope I wish more senators would have gone with him, but he's a leader. Like I guarantee he's run for president now. Like you'll see him on the debate stage in a couple of years talking about what a great job, that he did to try to save this guy from prison, even though he has no chance to do it. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Let's this more information here from ABC News. So let's about Kilmar Garcia here.
Now to El Salvador's president saying he won't return a wrongfully deported man sent to his country's notorious.
That's the talking point, that he's wrongfully deported. That's not really true. He was wrong. He was wrongfully deported to the prison, not to the country, because he's from that country and he had a deportation order. So he's back in his country. Should he be in prison? I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate whether he should be in or not. So
prison from the United States. Nayib Bukele meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office just a short time ago today, as the president says he will not follow an order from the Supreme Court to bring home a Maryland man the Department of Justice has admitted was wrongfully sent to El Salvador. Remember, the Supreme Court...
Technically not true. He was wrongfully deported to the prison, not back to El Salvador. So, again, they're kind of changing what the administration said there.
Court has ordered that Kilmar Abrego Garcia be brought back to the United States, but the Trump administration saying it won't do that. And Bukele just now saying that he doesn't believe he has the power to return him.
Which is disingenuous. If he wanted to, he could return him, but he won't do it. You should just be honest. Like, hey, look, he's a criminal. We're not going to return him to the U.S. Instead, he's like, well, I don't really have the power to return him, even though I'm the president of El Salvador and we're kind of an authoritarian state now. So what I say goes, but I don't have the power to return him. Sorry, he's stuck in our horrible prison, maximum security prison. He's stuck there forever. Nothing we can do.
Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to be suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's disingenuous.
How can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States?
That's so disingenuous. I mean, again, he could have just said, "Look, he's a criminal. I'm not returning him. Sorry."
United States, or whether of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
Joining me now is ABC's senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer and ABC's Matt Rivers. Matt, I do want to start with you. A question in two parts for you. One, what is your takeaway from what you just saw in the Oval Office? And also, you have been to this notorious mega prison of Bukele's. You've investigated it. Give me an understanding of what it's like there as we hear the president in the Oval Office talk about using that facility potentially more in the future.
Yeah, it's a good question, Jay. I think let's start with the fact that it's not a preposterous question to ask if the president of El Salvador, who is currently holding this person who the U.S. government's own attorneys have said was wrongfully deported to El Salvador.
Again, he was wrongfully deported to the prison, not back to his home country of origin.
If the president of El Salvador would return him. It's not a preposterous question, and quite frankly, it could be done because the United States has already said if El Salvador wants to send this person back, they would facilitate that transfer. So how to do it, the idea that he would have to somehow smuggle this person back to the United States, that is preposterous. However, what you see from in lockstep from both Presidents Bukele and Trump is that they believe this is a very winnable issue for them in the public domain, because the other side has to argue due process. The other side has to say, oh, we don't like gang members. Maybe this guy's affiliated with MS-13. We're not totally sure. But everyone, no matter who you are, is afforded due process. It's a very complicated argument to make versus what you heard from Nayib Bukele, which is just, oh, do you like terrorists? You want them on your street? He's going to win that argument in the court of public opinion every single time, and they know that. When it comes to the conditions inside that prison, Jay, it's really bad. There's no other way to put it. I've seen worse prisons in my career, but this one was really rough. I mean, they never go outside. They're outside of their cells 30 minutes a day, maximum only within the cell block, at least 80 people to a cell, 2 toilets at any given time, no books, no pictures, no loved ones, no contact with the outside world. It is rough, and it is by design to be rough because the government of El Salvador says it's needed as a deterrent to what was a massive
Look,
crime.
if these are criminals, I really don't feel bad for them at all. But, it's just me.
Hold on just 1 second.
And again, this man from Maryland that the Department of Justice has admitted in open court was wrongfully sent to that prison is there now as we speak.
Now that's honest. So that he was wrongfully deported to that prison. Like they're just claiming he was wrongfully deported. Let's see. I didn't know they were CIA funded. That's wild, but not too surprising. Look, I put nothing past the CIA. This is the same agency that funded the Contras in Nicaragua. These are the same CIA that tortured people. This is the same CIA that that killed Kennedy, allegedly. And so they killed a U.S. president, allegedly. So if they're able to do that, then they're pretty much capable of doing anything. So let's see. I want to get to again, the killing of Kennedy is alleged, but a lot of the evidence pretty much shows that they did do it, and U.S. presidents ever since have been scared to oppose the CIA. You notice not one U.S. president has opposed the CIA. They all fund the CIA. They all talk good about the CIA because they know, like if they get out of line, they're not gonna last long. Let's say. So this is Abrego Garcia's wife. Freezes and refuses to answer a question on why she filed her protection order against him in 2021. This is Michael Strahan asking this question. Good question. Go Giants, by the way, even though they're pathetically bad ever since Michael Strahan retired, especially. So let's see what this.
Well, they did win in 2012 as well.
Well, yeah, they won one, but pretty much after his retirement, the Giants have been a pathetic franchise. But except for that Super Bowl they won in 2012. But that was. But that was the only really light of success since 2008.
I have to ask it. You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
Yes. Oops.
Husband is alive.
Well, husband's alive. That's not an answer. Like my husband's alive. What?
Oh boy. Why hasn't that been
that's
going
not an
viral?
answer. I'm sorry, it's just not an answer. Even though
Why hasn't that been going viral?
Okay, then I'm not going to push on it.
Okay, well, I'm not going to push it. It's like, Michael, you should push it a little bit. What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, were you scared? Were you not scared? What happened? What's the context of that protective order? This is her answer again. It's like,
husband is alive.
My husband's alive.
That's all I can say.
My husband's alive. That's all I can say. Just say, look, I'm not, I'm not comfortable talking about it, or, it's a personal thing or whatever. Like, oh, my husband's alive. That's my answer to that question. It's like, what? Well, come on. I mean, look, there's something called a battered wife syndrome. And so I don't want to really make fun of her too much for that. But at the same time, it's like, come on. He's obviously a wife beater at the very least. I'm not saying he's MS-13 or human trafficker or anything like that, all these other crimes that he allegedly committed. But he's definitely a wife beater, most likely. So that's why, the left who's insisting on defending this guy and trying to bring him back doesn't make any sense. Why don't they focus on Khalil Mohammed or the girl from Tufts University who was just grabbed off the street and arrested and basically kidnapped? Focus on that. That's more important, I think, than Abrego Garcia here. This guy who's in some prison allegedly for crimes he committed, and he's at the very least a wife beater.
Yeah.
I wouldn't focus on that guy. I would try to get Khalil Muhammad out, or the girl from Tufts, or all the other people who've been arrested for daring to criticize Israel. But the politicians don't want to do that because they were arrested basically for criticizing Israel. So they don't want to be caught, criticizing Israel either. So that's why it's like, yeah, fuck those Arabs who criticize Israel, the Zionists. Yeah, I'm a Zionist too. So let's focus on Abrego Garcia, who's at the very least a wife beater. Let's just focus on him, trying to get him back, and attack Trump based on that instead of focusing on Khalil Muhammad and the girl from Tufts who was arrested, and the Korean girl who's also arrested, even though she's been in the country since she was 7. There's so many people have been arrested that I can't tell. I can't tell who's who and what happened. I don't really remember. There's so many of them. I remember Khalil Muhammad because he was the first, and he sticks out more than most of these other people. The CIA is into drug trafficking, destabilizing Latin American governments. That's 100% true. One time Trump was talking about the CIA, the lights went out in the White House. That's what they've been doing for a long time. They're some of the biggest cocaine dealers in the world. And yeah, then the DEA and the other parts of the government, basically their job is to go kill drug dealers, even though a lot of the drug lords work for the CIA ultimately. So the CIA is dealing drugs, but the DEA and other elements of the government go kill drug dealers and drug lords instead of going after the CIA, who are the main drug pushers here in the U.S. So a lot of ironies here. Is a lot of there's also I think it was in Iraq or Afghanistan where CIA funded militias fought Pentagon funded militias, and they all killed each other. So one element in the government funds these group of extremists. The Pentagon funds another group of extremists. They fight each other and they kill each other. So the U.S. government's basically financing both sides of the war here. And I think it's either Iraq or Afghanistan. It's one of those two countries. There's so many countries we invaded that I can't remember which country that story took place in exactly. So let's see. So let's go to Donald Trump, who officially tweeted this out. This is what they're alleging on why he's MS-13. So this is the tattoos on his knuckles there. M. This is a marijuana thing. S. The smiley face. 1. The cross, and 3 is the skull there. So allegedly, MS-13 members have those tattoos on their knuckles there. So that's the evidence that they have that he's MS-13. They also claim the Chicago Bulls jersey and hat that he was arrested in. That makes him MS-13 as well. Apparently, MS-13 members wear Bulls uniforms, or not uniforms, but jerseys and stuff. So that's not enough evidence for me to say he's MS-13. I mean, it just isn't.
Why did you like and retweet that?
Yeah, I mean, why did I retweet it? Because people, I don't know. It was just I actually meant to bookmark it, but I just retweeted it as a, hey, this is what Trump is saying now. So that's why I retweeted it, not because I endorse it, but it was just something. Hey, look, this is what Trump is claiming now. Why he's MS-13.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. There was something else too. Hold on. But yeah, that's not enough evidence for me to say he's MS-13. It just isn't. And but to be fair, I saw a photo. His wife is doing a GoFundMe. And there's a photo of him with her. And for some reason, she covered up his tattoos here with like heart symbols, which makes it questionable to me that, maybe, either A, she's worried about the implications, or B, it's just like one of those things where why would she put hearts there when, allegedly he's not MS-13? Mm-hmm. But let's see. That was just, something Michael Tracy kind of tweeted this out, but I think it's important because it seems like the US government is firing employees that are against invading Iran, which is not something that I like to hear because it looks like they're getting ready. They're ramping up for an invasion of Iran, which is a major disaster if they do pull that off. There's a purge in the Pentagon. Joe Casper, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's chief of staff, will leave his role in the upcoming days for a new position at the agency. A week after Tomori in the Pentagon, senior advisor Dan Caldwell, Hegseth's deputy chief of staff, Darren Selnick, and Colin Carroll, the chief of staff to Deputy Defense Secretary Stephen Feinberg, were placed on leave this week on ongoing leak probe. All three of them terminated on Friday, according to three people familiar with the matter, who, like others, were granted anonymity to discuss a sensitive issue.
Indy, you're here way too late.
Yeah. I mean, looks like they're purging in the Pentagon, and apparently a lot of these people were critical of any invasion of Iran. So that's why there's all of a sudden this purge at the Pentagon. Which, if that's the case, it's like it looks like the administration is riling up for an invasion of Iran. If you guys thought Afghanistan and Iraq was a quagmire and disaster, that's nothing. Iran is going to be so much worse. I mean, we're going to be stuck there
I
for.
remember when Tulsi Gabbard went after Trump for Iran, but now it's
Oh no! Now they're Arab Muslim extremists that ready to
Islamic terrorists, as she likes to call them.
Yeah, she likes using Islamic terrorists, that rhetoric. And now they're Islamic terrorists that fund terrorists around the world. They fund Hamas, allegedly. So
Hamas!
they fund Hamas. So yeah, that's our justification for invading and basically sticking us in a quagmire for the rest of our lifetimes. I mean, that's what's going to end up happening. We're going to be stuck there for multiple decades in Iran and trying to keep Iran and trying to rebuild its infrastructure and bring democracy into Iran, which look how it turned out in Iraq and Afghanistan. That didn't work out too well, but the U.S. is going to continue doing that because we got defense contractors to pay. Let's see. Hey, Indy. I hope you're enjoying South Florida. I mean, hell, I could use a vacation right now. Not much. Thank you for the support, and hope you're enjoying South Florida because I'm stuck here in New Jersey and it's like in the 50s right now. So it's gonna get colder this Easter weekend. So, like, oh no, and I'm gonna freeze my ass off this Easter. So this is more. There's a lot of allegations here about what a world without USAID. So again, they're trying to shame us into supporting USAID. New preprint finding that eliminating U.S. global health funding over the next 15 years will cost 15.2 million deaths from AIDS, 2.2 million deaths from tuberculosis, an additional 7.9 million additional child deaths. So the source is Stover preprints with the Lancet, whatever that is. That's their source compared to estimate of continued funding at 2024 levels. So millions of people will die unless we fund extremist groups, or revolutions around the world. This is what USAID did. They funded a lot of right-wing groups. They funded allegedly they funded a lot of media here in the US, and in UK and Europe. Again, I say allegedly because it's going to be very difficult to connect USAID to a lot of new media here in the U.S. So that's why I say allegedly. But you can almost say a lot of these liberal, outlets here that are in this space in particular that are funded by USAID. I can't prove that, which is why I'm speculating here. But I would not be surprised if that was the case. We have to do all that funding because we have to save millions of lives here, allegedly. Again, I say, I'm just indifferent to this. This is a trick that Washington insiders use to justify USAID and other NGOs. Hey, we use 1% of our budget to help poor brown people. Aren't we good? No, you're not good. You're basically you use that 1% in order to shame us into supporting USAID, and I'm not going to do that. No matter how much you try to shame me into it. So let's see. I have time for one or so. Do you have that Bernie Sanders thing you talked about? 'Cause I don't.
I didn't save it, but I mean, you can go to Z Squirrel. I think that's the account.
That account blocked me, I think.
Yeah, but you can still go to the account and find the footage. Remember, you can still see the content even if you're blocked.
Hold on. Oops. Let me just do this.
I mean, yeah, she blocked me too, but you know.
Yeah, she blocked a lot of people. I'm not sure why she blocked me. I mean, it was something to do with what was it? So many people blocked me a long time ago. I don't remember why I was blocked one particular person.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoops.
I've been blocked by Abby Barton and Mike Preisner as well.
Oh yeah, they blocked you. Oh god.
Yeah.
I
They
think
blocked me and a lot of others. You know, like Fiorella and I believe in others.
Well,
I think
they
were against the not the vaccines, but the what's the other word called again? I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I forget right now exactly what it is, but yeah, I mean
that's why we call him Jabby Martin and Mike
she's
Pfizer.
she's pretty pro vaccine here. So again, you should we're on YouTube, so you have to take your vaccines and schedule your appointment for your COVID boosters, but I got mine for next week. But yeah. So yeah, I already showed that last week, in fact. Bernie Sanders making a surprise appearance at Coachella to sermonize on the evils of wealth in front of a crowd who paid at least $600 for tickets to be there as peak 21st century Democratic Party. I know I'm not showing this the screen, but I just wanted to read that. I was really like, Bernie Sanders went to Coachella. Why? Is he running for president again? That's what it seems like. It seems like he wants to run for president again.
Well, people want AOC to run.
Oh God, if she runs, she ain't gonna last long.
She's been raising like $9.6 million.
Yeah, she raised a lot of money. Some people are like, "Oh, she's the next Nancy Pelosi." I was like,
okay, I
I
wouldn't share that account. I mean, that's an anti-Palestine account.
No, I know, but the reason why I'm sharing is because pro-Palestine extremists, blah blah blah. I mean, so they're removing pro-Palestine people from Bernie Sanders' rally. Of course, Bernie will never say Zionist Israel is the problem. He'll just say Israel's the right to exist.
I mean, he's just like Trump. I mean, he talks about how Trump's bad and all that. He's just like him.
Yeah. Oh, it's really loud. And let me just, you could see them removing the pro-Palestine protester there. And again, like, Bernie will never say Zionist Israel is the problem. He'll just say, well, I mean, the Palestinians... He won't call it genocide either. He just says, well, with the Palestinians have a right to live, and he'll dance around the genocide thing, but won't actually
he says
say
Israel has the right to defend himself.
And he says Israel's right to defend himself, which is a pro-Zionist talking point. We all know. Like, Israel's right to defend
Bernie
themselves.
and is that they like to play both sides.
Yeah.
Playing both sides is the absolute worst thing you can do because it pleases neither of them. So, yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't change anything. It's more like it's just, oh yeah, we want to be in power, so we can't say Israel's a Zionist genocidal state, but at the same time, we don't want to alienate our base, so let's just dance around this issue and say, well, the Palestinians have the right to live, they shouldn't be genocided, but at the same time, Israel has the right to exist, and Israel has the right to defend itself, which is pro-Zionist talking points. So, here's
and also how Bernie Sanders, he's actually been calling that the U.S. will be turned to an oligarchy for years and years.
Yeah, I showed that clip last week. I think he's been saying that for 30 years.
Yeah,
I think
that's
this
right.
was
Yeah, you did. Okay, yeah.
Yes, in this speech today, Bernie Sanders said again, Israel has the right to defend itself. Again, refused to recognize the genocide and try to normalize the genocidal apartheid and death cult. And he was booed.
Or
Do
as
this
Michael
wherever.
Rappaport would say, "Where's the apartheid? Where's the
Uh-huh.
apartheid?"
Yeah, he was complaining that he's struggling to get work in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, you're a Zionist Jew. I mean, you should get work like crazy, unless you suck. I mean, that's why nobody wants to hire you because
Or
I've not seen.
as Steph would say, he sucks dick. That's what he does.
Yeah. So yeah, unless you suck, that's why nobody will hire you. I don't remember the last movie he even did. So that's how long ago I I forgot about him until he's been coming around being pro Zionist. He was booed, do this wherever he goes, and dares to say that this filthy Zionist script. Excuse me. So let's.
Israel, like the United States and every other country,
That's the highest I can make
has
it.
the right to defend itself against terrorism.
Boo.
But Israel does not have the right to wage a barbaric war against the people of Gaza.
Isn't that what defend itself means?
Yay! He said the right thing.
Isn't that what it means? Isn't what defend itself? Isn't that what it really means, though?
Yeah, to Israel and every other country has the right to defend itself. And I'm surprised to say Israel has the right to exist, which is another Zionist talking point.
The United States and every other country has the right to defend itself against terrorism. But Israel does not have the right to wage a barbaric war against the people of Gaza.
Yeah, he said the right thing.
And he calls it a war, not a genocide.
Yeah. Again, he won't say the word genocide. He won't say the word. He won't say. He won't say the word genocide. No matter what. I think somebody asked him whoa, whoa, whoa. He got really mad at them. It's like. There's not a. He didn't say it wasn't a genocide, but he tried to walk around it. Like he just won't say the word genocide. He just won't say the word. Won't say. And I'm not trying to make this like the Simpsons meme that people have seen, where everybody's looking at Bart and is like, "Say it, say it,"
the line.
say the line, Bart, and he finally says, "Like, yeah." And I'm not trying to do that, but it's very important to say, it's a genocide because especially somebody like Bernie Sanders, if he says that, then he's pretty much done in Washington. Let's keep it real, man. They will force him out of office quicker than
I remember when
I could
liberals
sneeze.
used to hate him, but now they love him now. So.
Oh no, they love him. You have Harry Sisson and the Krasenstein brothers and Brooklyn Dad and all of these.
So that guy, I don't remember his name, but he says, "Oh boy, big news." He likes.
Yeah, that guy. I mean, all these paid influencers and all these wealthy white upper middle class liberals who are Democrats all love Bernie Sanders all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Why?
It's
Because
kind of funny. Back in the day, it was liberals who hated him, but it was the so-called progressives who loved him. Now, or I guess
reversed.
we supported him. Now we don't support him anymore, and all the liberals love him. It's just like,
it's reverse. It's totally reverse. I mean, most of Bernie 2016 hates him, and now the Hillary 2016 crowd loves him now. So let's see. This is she blocked me a long time ago. Says Squirrel blocked you. You can view public posts, but you're blocked from engaging with them. You can't also message or follow her. I don't care. So anything else here? Because she shares some good stuff, but at the same time, like she's kind of shit libby.
No, I wouldn't say she's a shit lib. It's just certain things she doesn't like. Like debunking her or that's.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, yeah. I mean, abolish ICE means not having an agency that incarcerates children and sexually assaults women with impunity. It does not mean abolish deportation. So AOC is basically she's pro deportation. In other words,
yeah.
Those Ethan and Helia Klein also intentionally erased the fact that their precious Israeli death cult regime intentionally mass murdered its own civilians on October 7th with the Hannibal directive, and to this day keeps doing so with their prisoners. So, yeah, I think it was last week we discussed it, where Ethan Klein and his wife are good news according to a think tank.
Remember when Ethan went after Joe Rogan a couple years ago for his health or whatever it was, while he's
Yeah,
overweight himself.
yeah. Which is it's Joe Rogan. He's not overweight. I mean, he's like a healthy, like man's man. Opposing genocide is a purity test. I literally hate this lady. What is this? This is recently. Team AOC. A better world is possible.
How long have we been hearing that now? A better world is possible. Yeah.
Years. Because we've heard it in 2016 from Bernie. We heard it in 2020 from Bernie. We heard it, we heard it from AOC ever since she got elected in 2018. All they talk about is rhetoric. How, a better world is possible, guys. They sound like Ronald Reagan with his Morning in America rhetoric.
And that causes Kyle Kulinski to come every single time. So
that dude's a lunatic. If you watch his recent videos, he's completely lost his mind. I don't
watch his videos anymore.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I've seen clips, around X and stuff, and people are like, they're like praising him, like shitloads, like praising him.
Shows more of those cringe Kyle Kulinski clips.
Yeah, which is why that's what I've seen. But I don't go out of my way to watch him anymore. Haven't in months. But I've seen those clips. He's a lunatic. But I digress. Let's see what AOC has to say here. More flowery rhetoric and nonsense, I'm sure.
This movement is not about partisan labels or purity tests.
No, of course not. It's not about purity tests, like opposing a genocide. No. No purity tests, guys. That's not what we're here for.
It's about class solidarity. It is about the thousands of you who came out here today to stand together and say our lives deserve dignity and our work deserves respect. Because it will never be just institutions and officials alone that uphold our democracy. It will always be the people.
Not a democracy. We're not a democracy.
The masses who refuse to comply with authoritarian regimes.
We're authoritarian already. No one's opposed it.
Who are the last and strongest defense of our country and our freedom.
We lost our freedoms and we lost the, we're authoritarian and
she's not saying anything.
No, it's just flowery rhetoric.
We are at a crossroads.
We are at a
oligarchy or democracy.
It's already an oligarchy. We lost.
Yeah. But we cannot have both.
You don't have freedom. It's an oligarchy. The rich run the country.
Los Angeles,
literally, a billionaire is a president right now. That shows how much the oligarchy runs the country.
Made my choice. We must fight the oligarchy that has created this nightmare. And that is why I have never taken money from lobbyists or corporations.
Which makes her capitulation... Dude, it makes her capitulation even worse because she's taking no money from these people, but she still does what she's told anyways.
No, but she was just paid $9.6 million lately. So
yeah, I mean she raised up $9.6 million from donors. So technically, she hasn't taken the money. The party's taken the money, which is why she can say this. Technically, I'm not taking no money from lobbyists and corporations. But I do their bidding anyways. So that's worse than me. It's like, look, just take the money if you're going to do their bidding anyways. Like,
and it's why I never will.
Bullshit.
But beyond elections, our task is to build community. Block associations, volunteer groups, church organizations, PTAs, activist organizations. Because community is the most powerful building block we have to defeat authoritarianism and root out corruption. This is the path to guaranteeing health care to every American, to establish a living minimum wage.
No Medicare for all?
No health care. No, we have to get health care for every single American, guys. How do you do that? I mean, I guess expanding the ACA further. That's the best they got. It won't even say public option anymore. If they say public option, it's like, hey, we're back to the Obama rhetoric from 15 years ago, but at least it's something. No, they just say healthcare. We got to get healthcare for all. How do you do that? They're probably going to use the excuse of expanding the ACA further and not even do it a public option.
To take on skyrocketing rents and mortgages, to tackle the climate crisis, and establish a country where the American dream is actually possible for all of us.
No, it isn't.
Because we know, Los Angeles, that a better world is possible. And we are willing to do something about it.
As someone who lives in LA, no, it's not possible. It's not happening.
Look, 15 years ago, I would have fallen for this rhetoric. Today, it's like, it's so like, ugh. And you
By the
notice
way,
how
in one of
Go ahead.
the recent rallies she was in, she faked an accent again.
Jesus. Look, just do look, I mean, I can do the Spanish accent if I wanted to. I've done it a few times on the show today, but doesn't mean, for a politician to do it, it's kind of
No, but she
cringe.
was doing it in an African American accent.
Oh my, that's even worse. I heard about that. I didn't see it, but I've heard her do it before. The African American accent. It's
Yeah.
like, don't do that. It's so patronizing. Oh, by the way, you notice that audience is very white too, right?
Mhm.
Extremely white, to the point where it's like, where's the minorities? I mean, that's what the Democratic Party is about, right? Instead, you have like, looks like upper middle. I saw one black woman in that entire video. It's like 2-minute package there. The trailer, basically. Like, for AOC, what, she gonna run for president? Or is she gonna run for Senate and try to replace Chuck Schumer? I don't know. Like, she's definitely running for higher office.
I wish we could go back in time and not elect any, AOC and the rest of the Justice Democrats.
No,
no. That was the absolute worst thing that happened.
No, we all wasted our times from like 2016 to 2021, 22, around there, when a lot of us around that time gave up on the whole Bernie or progressive thing. Fred Edwards said Sandy and Bernie are still running the 2016 Our Revolution talking points. Sickening, really. That's exactly what it is. It feels like Bernie 2016, but 10 years later, and they're doing the same thing. And they're trying to hoodwink a bunch of new young people into falling for that. Because hell, I fell for it 15 years ago. Obama did the flowery rhetoric, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Bernie Sanders did it, and I fell for it again, because ultimately he insisted on us voting for Hillary Clinton, and I was like, yeah, fuck that. And Joe Biden, yeah, he ran in 2020, and he surrendered immediately. I mean, he didn't even wait to surrender. He's like instantly surrendered. Is like, vote for my good friend Joe.
I fell for Bernie in 2016, and of course, like I've said, I fell for Tulsi in 2020. But
yeah, I like Tulsi too, but I was like, oh, I'll just go with Bernie because I went for Bernie in 2016. So let's just go for Bernie in 20. Whoops, and let's see what happens. He surrendered immediately. Like he just like straight up just said, "Oh yeah, vote for my good friend Joe." I mean, he's my good friend. He's gonna be he's better than Trump. He's gonna be great for the country.
Yeah.
And we lived through his 4 years, and nope, wasn't great for the country.
So far, Yankees are leading 1-0, top of the eighth. Carlos Rodon just had his best start of the season.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I saw that, and it's like, finally, dude. I mean, shit. I mean, we need you this season because Garrett Cole, we aren't gonna see him again. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up here. It's past 9 o'clock, and we've done a lot of talking this week. By the way,
I didn't check the last few days. I don't think the last Pro Wrestling Talk is still on there.
I'm gonna have to maybe upload it at some point and But
I don't know if Steph uploaded the video from Sunday.
She's gonna upload that Sunday on her birthday. She said.
Okay.
This Sunday is her birthday, so she's gonna upload it then, so you
Okay.
can see it there. But there's no Pro Wrestling Talk again this week. We're still on hiatus. Tomorrow and Sunday are WrestleMania, so we'll be watching that. We'll be back on the 26th with David and her to review WrestleMania, most likely on the 26th, which is 8 o'clock Eastern. We're gonna start, and we're probably not getting the clips because we probably have a lot to talk about. So we'll be back with clips.
Then I probably wouldn't show up.
Yeah. We'll be back May 6th, I think it is. Like the first Saturday in May, we'll go back to clips. But for now, I think my battery may have died. Hold on. Oh no, it's good. My mouse battery. But I mean, we'll be back the 26th to review WrestleMania, and then May 6th, I think it is, or May 3rd, whatever it is. We'll be back with clips. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Angel in the Afternoon will be back next Friday at 7. And Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter. If you believe in that stuff, if you don't, just ignore me. Thank you very much for watching.